Yo. Yo.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hollywood, Florida for the first annual Super Bowl Grand Prix presented by Polaroid. We're airborne now at the start of the race. The first race on Saturday, around 1 o'clock here in Hollywood Beach. We've got the P3 class, the Cat outboards, and the V lights in this start. You can see Miccosukee Indian Gaming all the way on the outside. Out front of this start, though, Pollo Tropical, Arises Rodriguez PA, Frank Arises, and Albertencio Medina out front. There you see S12, that's Deep V Cats. Lee Austin, the owner and throttleman of this boat, as well as builder, built in nearby Fort Lauderdale. Steve Quick from Chicago is the driver. These guys running out front right now in the stock superboat category. There you can see they're battling with Miccosukee Indian Gaming. Side by side, two boats, S1, S12. These guys battled all season long in 2006, and they're starting off 2007 this same way, side by side here in the Fort Lauderdale at the Polaroid Super Bowl Grand Prix, brought to you by SBI and APBA. In the S1, Miccosukee Indian Gaming, Darren Schwartz is the owner and driver. Longtime throttleman is Troy Hannon, keeping the boat moving along. The boat is a 32-foot 2004 Doug Wright catamaran powered by twin Mercury 280 horsepower outboards. Last year it was the world and national champion. Also, this team was the 2005 P3 world champion. Darren Schwartz, owner of DAS North Miami, nearby, is the driver. Troy Hannon from Davie, Florida is the throttle man. The crew always does a great job keeping this boat in shape and ready to go. Sponsor miccosukee Indian Gaming, located in Miami, Florida. On hand, always rooting their team on. Troy Hannon, the throttle man, owns and operates Supreme Marine, who rig and maintain this boat. There you can see all the spectators and fans lining Hollywood Beach here on Super Bowl weekend as Team Miccosukee's motoring down the beach, battling with Deep V Cats in the Superboat stock category. There you can see the Superboat V Limited category boat. That's Gary DeSoucies and Steve Miklos in Extreme Vortex, 29-foot Extreme. This team out of Newport Richey, Florida. Here's the onboard camera shot off the back of Miccosukee Indian Gaming right at the start of the race. Getting ready to go to the green flag. There you can see the 38-foot cigarette of Poya Tropicala, Reese's Rodriguez, PA. Looks like we probably got the green flag right here. Troy Hannon up, pushing the throttles forward. Darren Schwartz keeping the boat on track. Those 280 horsepower Mercury outboards purring right along here at the start of the Polaroid Super Bowl Grand Prix in Hollywood, Florida. There you can see the Miccosukee Indian Gaming going by F1-1 Team Extreme. S1 Miccosukee Indian Gaming. Darren Schwartz and Troy Hannon aboard, doing a great job in their 32-foot Doug Wright. Still battling in the Cat Outboard Superboat Stock class. This is S1 Miccosukee Indian Gaming, just a little bit behind Deep V Cats at this point. Making the corner at the south end of the course here in Hollywood at the Super Bowl Grand Prix. Miccosukee Indian Gaming giving chase right now to Deep V Cats. Troy Hannon and Darren Schwartz right now trying to play catch up. These two teams battled all season long in 2006, bringing it right back to that here in 2007. trying to catch up with Steve Quick and Lee Austin in Deep V Cats. Really airing it out, heading north up the backstretch right now, trying to catch up with Deep V Cats. Miccosukee Indian Gaming in the Superboat stock class. Deep V Cats with a slight advantage heading north right now, shortly getting ready to make the turn here. You can see, looks like Miccosukee's carrying a little bit more speed, gaining a little bit of ground right now. Looks like Deep V Cats is fading a little bit to the outside, trying to round the corner at the north end of the course as Miccosukee trying to play catch up and get inside for the corner on the north end. Darren Schwartz and Troy Hannon aboard Miccosukee Indian Gaming, Steve Quick and Lee Austin in Deep V Cats. You can see Miccosukee's definitely making up a little bit of ground as they come to the point of the corner as they both go past the Crazy Chicken. Deep V Cats getting ready to make the corner. Wait, where are these guys? Oh my God, look at that! Deep V Cats and Miccosukee collide, and collide again, just as Crazy Chicken barely misses them. Miccosukee looks like they'll be able to keep going on this one. But let's take a look at this in slow motion again. As they get to the pin, both boats coming in hot. Deep V Cats starts to turn. Miccosukee with nowhere to go as they go right over the back end of the Deep V Cats team. As Crazy Chicken comes into the corner with nowhere to go, trying to avoid the carnage. Both cat outboard superboat stock boats collide again. Deep V Cats looks to be having lost power. Looking closer, you can see one of the motors there is definitely not on the mount it was originally supposed to be, as Miccosukee doesn't look like it sustained much damage and seems like they're going to continue on. Let's see that action off the back of Miccosukee Indian Gaming as they head through the corner. Definitely a strange turn of events right there at the north end of the course here at the Super Bowl Grand Prix, brought to you by Polaroid, between Deep V Cats and Miccosukee Indian Gaming. We'll have to let the race officials explain what happened at some point and see what happens with that racing incident. Obviously, there was little damage to the drivetrain aboard Miccosukee. Take another look at this as they get to the corner. Miccosukee definitely carrying a lot of speed as they come into the corner. We don't know what type of hull damage Miccosukee sustained, but obviously their motors and propeller had a little bit of damage as they were able to continue on. Darren Schwartz and Troy Hannon, a scary moment there aboard Miccosukee Indian Gaming. You can see a little bit of damage looking down inside the sponson on the starboard side where they went over the top of Deep V Cats, Lee Austin and Steve Quick. There's the Crazy Chicken in the P5 class. S1 miccosukee Indian Gaming, rigged and maintained by Supreme Marine in Fort Lauderdale. Coming down now, this is S1 miccosukee Indian Gaming. Darren Schwartz, the owner and driver man. Troy Hannon on the throttles. miccosukee Indian Gaming was the world and national champion in 2006. Battled all season long with DB Cats, but came out on top in 2006. Thus far, 2007's proved to be a different year as the Cats took the winning opening round in the Hollywood Super Bowl Grand Prix. Miccosukee's back with a vengeance right now, trying to catch up here in near their home waters in Miami Beach here at the 2007 Miami Beach Superboat Grand Prix. Troy Hannon rigged and maintains miccosukee Indian Gaming as well as Rolling Vengeance in this cat outboard class. This 32-foot Doug Wright, very strong running boat, sponsored by the Miccosukee Resorts located in Miami, Florida. Beautiful turquoise waters off Miami Beach here. Right now, Miccosukee Indian Gaming. Big leap there for Troy Hannon and Darren Schwartz. No problem at all for Miccosukee Indian Gaming. 32-foot Doug Wright with the Mercury 2.5-liter outboards purring along here in Miami Beach. Ripping right along, Miccosukee Indian Gaming S1, your national champions in 2006, as well as world champions, Darren Schwartz and Troy Hannon. Currently running in second place in the stock outboard category. In the lead, D&E Motorsports in second. Miccosukee quickly moving up into third, and Cat Attack in fourth. There you see Miccosukee Indian Gaming S1, last year's world and national champions in the Superboat stock class. Troy Hannon is the throttle man. Darren Schwartz is the owner and driver aboard this 32-foot Doug Wright. Rigged and maintained locally here in Fort Lauderdale by Supreme Marine. Miccosukee Indian Gaming, located in Miami, Florida. Currently third place in the Cat Outboard class right now, but trying to play catch up. Troy Hannon on the throttles, Darren Schwartz at the wheel. Very strong running 32-foot Doug Wright, powered by a pair of Mercury 2.5 liter outboards. Come around the corner here at the north end of the course. Tight racing action here between several classes. Miccosukee Indian Gaming and the Yachts Fountain side by side, two different classes for competitive racing here in Fort Lauderdale 2007 Air and Sea Show for Superboat International. The Yachts Fountain on the outside, owned by Michael Carcenti from Canes, France. Today the driver is Mike Siebold and the throttle man is Craig Wilson. There you see D&E Motorsports and Miccosukee Indian Gaming battling now. Miccosukee got the wheels turned up now and moving by D&E Motorsports into second place overall. Troy Hannon and Darren Schwartz want to get to the front of the pack and win this race, but DV Cats has checked out at this point. But now in second place, Miccosukee moving past D&E Motorsports. Go on board with Miccosukee right here. You see Miccosukee to the pins right there down that whole straightaway, holding it wide open as they move past D&E Motorsports. Great battle right there in the Superboat stock class between DV Cats and Miccosukee. Battling now. There you can see Fountain Yachts going by number 96, running unopposed in the Superboat V class. We'll go back on board with Miccosukee right here. Very close with DV Cats there. Don't want to have what happened in the Hollywood Grand Prix happen again as they go by there, taking the clean line on the inside by DV Cats. Miccosukee takes the lead in the Superboat stock class. DV Cat's not giving up. It's still running very strong. That big wide boat runs very well in this type of water. Steve Quick and Lee Austin aboard DV Cat's battling with Miccosukee. Big jump there for Miccosukee. Bumpy water here in Fort Lauderdale. Big leap right there. Side by side in the Superboat stock class with DV Cats. Heller and the Aqua Toy Store, as well as Anthony Crane. Go on board with Miccosukee here right at the start of the race. Troy Hannon and Darren Schwartz, last year's national and world champions in the Superboat stock class. Pulling a little bit of a lead right now. Miccosukee Indian Gaming out front of Team DV Cats. Lee Austin and Steve Quick, not familiar with this position this year. Right now, trying to gain a little ground on Darren Schwartz and Troy Hannon. Going around the corner at the north end of the course, coming in very hot. DV Cats. Out front, though, in their home waters, Darren Schwartz at the wheel. Troy Hannon on the throttle. 32-foot Doug Wright, rigged and maintained by Supreme Marine of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Last year's world and national champions, Miccosukee Indian Gaming. There you can see very tight side-by-side action between DV Cats and Miccosukee Indian Gaming. These guys battle it out all year long, as they did last season as well. see Miccosukee definitely making up some ground there, pulling away from DV Cats on that corner. There you see Miccosukee coming across in first place at the finish of the race, winning day 2 at the 2007 Fort Lauderdale Air and Sea Show Grand Prix. For now, we've got the yellow flag up already. First race of the day. This will be the Cat outboard as well as some of the P classes. You can see Miccosukee, Deep V Cat, Superior Asphalt, D&E, and Rolling Vengeance. The green flag's already up. Quickly jumping to the lead is Rolling Vengeance, but it looks like D&E Motorsports is going to head to the front of the pack right now. Superior Asphalt running right with these guys, a little bumpy here right in the beginning of the race, maybe a little bit bumpier than everybody thought it was going to be. 3 32-foot Doug Wrights right there with the 30-foot Skater and the 32-foot LA Marine just behind them. Taking a few little bit of flyers right here in the beginning, but D&E Motorsports, Todd Detley and Tag Estes heading to the front of the pack right now, but showing no quarters, Rolling Vengeance and Miccosukee Indian Gaming. Interesting conversation between Todd Detley and Tag Estes there as they took off to the early lead in Sarasota. Closest to us now, that's S1 Miccosukee Indian Gaming. Darren Schwartz is the owner and driver. Troy Hannon on the throttles. They were the world and national champions in 2006 in the Cat outboard Superboat stock class. These are 3 identical 32-foot Doug Wrights right here, all powered by Mercury 2.5 liters. Miccosukee Indian Gaming, also sponsored by K Clubs here in Sarasota for this event as well in Marathon. You see just a little bit of bump here in Sarasota, getting these boats a little bit airborne as they head towards turn 1. Miccosukee Indian Gaming currently leading the national points for 2007 in Superboat International, looking to regain their national championship that they won last year. See D&E taking a little bit of flyer heading into the turn there. But with the lead right now, Miccosukee Indian Gaming, Darren Schwartz and Troy Hannon, as they've already pulled out a little bit of a lead around turn 1. D&E moving ahead of Rolling Vengeance at this point. Miccosukee Indian Gaming is rigged and prepared by Supreme Marine of Fort Lauderdale. Supreme Marine on Ravenswood Road, your home for all your high performance needs, custom rigging, painting, and more. Propellers on Miccosukee Indian Gaming are by Frank and Jimmy's Propellers in Fort Lauderdale as well. For the lineup right now, we have the green flag, and immediately going out front, Miccosukee closest to the pace boat along with Still Chainsaws. Closest to us now, TNT Custom Marine, Gary Ballou and Paul Whittier. Bermuda Barracuda right in the center of the shot. The S111 Fluid Sealing Products just dropping back a little bit right from the get-go here. There you see the 2 Factory 1 boats quickly being left by the Superboat stock boats. TNT Custom Marine on the inside. Miccosukee Indian Gaming and Still it's a dead heat right now towards turn 1 between Still and TNT Custom Marine. Ever so slight lead to the S9, TNT Custom Marine, AMF. Owned and throttled by Gary Ballou, this 32-foot Doug Wright, powered by a pair of Mercury 2.5-liter outboards. Paul Whittier on the wheel from Yarrow Point, Washington. Here, looking back a little bit now, you see Deep V Cats moving up just a little bit, still, and Miccosukee Indian Gaming dropping back just a little bit. Now, Fluid Sealing Products just behind, still. Miccosukee Indian Gaming and Bermuda Barracuda. Dennis Berry and Chris Marshall aboard Bermuda Barracuda. Darren Schwartz and Troy Hannon aboard Miccosukee Indian Gaming. Heading past Sunset Key right there. Miccosukee pulling out just a little bit. Currently this battle is for third place as TNT Custom Marine and Deep V Cats are 1-2. S-18 is Bermuda Barracuda based out of Morrow, Illinois. Dennis Berry is the throttle man. Chris Marshall from Bermuda is the driver. 32-foot Doug Wright, maintained by Berry Performance Marine. S-13 moving up on the outside as still chainsaws. Robert Noble Jr. is the owner and driver. Mike Fosse is the throttle man. This is just the second race for Team Still. They're doing a great job from the get-go right here. Chasing down Miccosukee Bermuda Barracuda right now. Very special thanks to the Wrights, Doug Jr. and Sr., as well as Grant's Custom Rigging, Gary Ballou, and Troy Hannon for Supreme Marine for all their help in putting this new team on the water. Great three-way battle between the Doug Wrights right now. Miccosukee Indian Gaming Still and Bermuda Barracuda heading towards turn 1 on lap number 2, day 1 here in Key West. First race of 3. Miccosukee Indian Gaming was your national champions for 2006 and 2007 in Superboat International, as well as the world champions in 2006. Right now, they are all trying to chase down TNT Custom Marine and Deep V Cats. Troy Hannon, owner-operator of Supreme Marine in Fort Lauderdale, rigs and maintains Team Miccosukee. There you see Deep V Cats going down in the water right there, allowing Miccosukee and Still to battle for second place right now. Shot off the back of Miccosukee Indian Gaming. Still and Miccosukee battling it across the back leg of Key West, rounding turn number 2, heading into Key West Harbor. Other sponsors aboard Miccosukee Indian Gaming include Hotfish, Supreme Marine, eBoatLoans.com, Miccosukee Indian Gaming, and Frank and Jimmy's Propellers. Great battle for second place between Miccosukee Indian Gaming and Still. waiting for the green flag. The yellow flag is still out. Green flag is up right now with TNT Custom Marine dropping back, still leading the Superboat stock class right now on the inside. Fluid Sealing Products is there. There is TNT Custom Marine, Deep V Cats, Miccosukee Indian Gaming, Bermuda Barracuda is also in the top of the screen, along with AMF Offshore Racing in the Factory 1 class. But leading the way right now is still S13. Mike Fossey is the throttle man. Robert Noble Jr. is the driver. Very tight racing here. All these boats powered by identical Mercury 2.5 liter outboards. That is S1, Miccosukee Indian Gaming. Darren Schwartz is the owner and driver. Troy Hannon on the throttles from Supreme Marine, rigged and maintained Miccosukee Indian Gaming. Other sponsors aboard S1 include Supreme Marine, Frank and Jimmy's Propeller, and Hotfish. The 32-foot Doug Wright was the 2006 and 2007 Superboat International National Champions, as well as the 2006 Superboat International World Champion last year here in Key West. Side by side with Fluid Sealing Products, it is Miccosukee Indian Gaming and Fluid Sealing Products. 32 Doug Wright and a 30-foot skater. Miccosukee Indian Gaming moving into fourth place at this point, behind TNT, Still, and Deep V Cats, as these three boats battle down the backstretch in Key West between turns 1 and 2. There you see Miccosukee Indian Gaming. Other sponsors for Miccosukee include eBoatLoans.com, a new sponsor for the Miccosukee team, as they pull alongside Fluid Sealing Products right now, heading towards turn 1 in Key West. On the back leg right now, Miccosukee Indian Gaming chasing down their rival, Deep V Cats. These two have battled all season long for the past 2 seasons. The Miccosukee Indian Gaming has come out number 1 for 2006 and 2007 as the national champion. The team making their way on the outside, that is the S1 of Miccosukee Indian Gaming, really motoring along and flying the boat very well at this point. Miccosukee Indian Gaming, the national champions for 2007 in Superboat International, as well as 2006 and the 2006 World Championship crown here in Key West last year. Darren Schwartz is the owner and driver. Troy Hannon is the throttle man. Troy is the proprietor of Supreme Marine in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He rigs and maintains Miccosukee Indian Gaming, as well as throttles the boat here. Really got it flying nice, trying to catch up to TNT Custom Marine and Still Southeast, making his way past the fans here at Fort Zachary Taylor and on the outer mole pier. Really flying the boat nice at this point. Team Miccosukee Indian Gaming. You can see them going past the F-152 with little damage shown there from their collision with Still Got It. The hatch flopped open, but they're still moving along. On S1, Miccosukee Indian Gaming, other sponsors include eBoatLoans.com, Hotfish Apparel, Frank and Jimmy's Propeller, DAS of North Miami, and Supreme Marine. Custom vinyl graphics aboard Miccosukee Indian Gaming by Kinetic Animation, a worldwide leader in motorsports graphics. Miccosukee Indian Gaming currently in second place in the Superboat stock class with a third and a second place finish thus far this week. Here in Key West, Florida, the final race of the boats that ran in the first race during the week. 9 races here in Key West. That was race number 7. Great week of action put together by Superboat International and the APBA UIM here in Key West. Everyone loves coming back to Key West every year. It's the place for the World Championships. You see all the hotels here along. That's the Ocean Key House along with the Pier House. Coming back now, that is the outer mole area, the pit area put together by Superboat International. Thousands upon thousands of spectators here in Key West to watch all the racing action. Freeze Frame Video, proud to be part of the action for over 25 years here in Key West. Special thanks to our helicopter pilot Russell Kilpatrick for helping us capture. There you see the winners in Superboat stock class. TNT Racing was your world champion, Gary Ballou and Paul Whittier. Still with J.R. Noble and Mike Fossey taking second place as Miccosukee Indian Gaming finished up in third for Troy Hannon and Darren Schwartz. The overall points shown here show again that TNT Racing, a perfect week for Gary and Paul. Still finishes up in second after a close battle all week with Miccosukee Indian Gaming. In the Manufacturers 5 class today, the winner was the Crazy Chicken, the 29-foot extreme shotgun. Team Velocity with Bob Spatalski, Stephen Kildall finished up in second. The local team of Team Rum Runners finished in third on Sunday, the final day. The overall points look like this. The Crazy Chicken wins the World Championships with Rum Runners, the local team, finishing up in second place. V&M Motorsports put together a great week of finishes to finish up in third overall. Today, the winner in Class 4, Team Kansas, in their 28-foot Sabre were victorious. Simmons Racing came home in second. The 34-foot Phantom of the Bean family finishes up in third. The overall points look like this. Simmons Racing taking another championship for Jim Simmons and Jason Zulecki. Team Kansas put together a great week of finishes to finish up in second, and the classic 36-foot Cigarette from Gainesville, Georgia, the Dirty Pearl, finishes up third. In Manufacturers 3, Gino Marone and Jim Anselmo win on the final day in You're in Command, sponsored by the U.S. Coast Guard. Mid-American Offshore finishes up second. The 377 of Wanted in their Cigarette Gladiator finishes third in the finals. The overall results look like this. The You're in Command takes the World Championships for 2007. Mid-American Offshore with their 38-foot Phantom finishes up the week in second. AMF Still Got It put together a week of good finishes for third. In Factory 1 class, AMF Offshore Racing with Trent Wyatt and Scott O'Connor finish up in first place. The AMF Offshore Addiction with a week of second place finishes, allowing AMF Offshore Racing TNT to win the World Championships for 2007, with AMF Offshore Addiction coming in second place for the week-long festivities. There you have it from Key West. It was a great week for racing action here. Freeze Frame Video, proud to be part of it. Special thanks again to our pilot, Russell Kilpatrick, as well as our assistant, Roxy Hanna, for helping us capture the excitement here in Key West, Florida. We look forward to seeing you with 2 more races here in Key West on the final day. If we don't see you then, we'll see you in 2008 to carry on the offshore racing tradition. Thanks from Freeze Frame. See you soon.